Today in crypto, banks are in big trouble as Warren Buffett dumps his bank stocks hard while making a big move into gold. This is insanely bullish for Bitcoin. But that's not all today. No. So much more. The former CEO of Prudential, which is one of the world's biggest asset managers, is now shilling Bitcoin for us. And banks, fearing extinction, are scrambling to get into crypto with 3 more big announcements today, including a central bank. This is mega bullish. Oh yeah, Bitcoin. Bitcoin's about to go to the moon too. So there's that as well. That's also a bonus. My name is Lark, and this is where you subscribe for all of the hottest and all of the latest happening out here in the wild land of crypto. So let's talk about the price of Bitcoin first. Bitcoin is still sitting just below $12,000. We did just have a failed test of the top line of resistance on that triangle. We could see the price even come back down to potentially test 11,500 and still be in this ascending triangle. But we do have a few more days to watch all of this play out, so let's keep an eye on this. But if it does indeed act as a bullish continuation pattern, which is where statistically the bias is moving towards, we can see Bitcoin move up to test $13,800 as an implied target for this breakout, which would be a big deal since it would represent the highest price for Bitcoin since January 2018, surpassing the highs last summer. Now this chart here is also potentially even more bullish than the Bitcoin chart. This is the altcoin market cap chart, excluding Bitcoin, of course. Now, after 2 years of accumulation, we are now breaking out, passing the highs of 2019 and hitting levels not seen since early 2018. The entire crypto market cap, by the way, did a 3x in 4 weeks back in 2017 when it first crossed over the 140 billion mark. Now, to be clear, I do not think that we're going to have that 3x move in 4 weeks right now, but it does give you some perspective on how quick this market can move when the FOMO kicks in. I fully expect a nice grind upwards for the rest of 2020, and by the time the market blows its top off late 2021 or early 2022, will be well over $1 trillion for the altcoin market cap, essentially meaning that all altcoins are going to Mars, man. Anyway, let's talk about DeFi, and first I want to talk about Radix, who is sponsoring today's episode. Now, Radix is the first layer 1 protocol specifically built to serve DeFi. There are 2 really cool news items I want to share with you about Radix. The first is their innovative solution for developer revenue. So when a developer creates a component on the Radix network, they're actually then able to set a royalty fee that would be due anytime their component of the network is used, which is pretty damn cool, meaning that developers can actually have lasting rewards for their work baked into the protocol, which is totally awesome. And the second cool thing is the launch of the Radix wrapping service, which will open the door to just an absolutely huge number of tokenizable assets via their collaboration with Copper, who handles the insurance and the security of the assets. Now, this means that on launch, Radix will be prepared with just massive utility and deep liquidity across multiple blockchains. And considering, of course, the massive hype building around DeFi, a dedicated layer 1 solution specifically catering to the DeFi industry is definitely something to take note of. I'll leave a link down below in the description where you can learn more about Radix and what they are doing. Now, in some other decentralized finance news, Aave has just introduced a new massive innovation: mortgages. This is crazy. So Aave is going to be partnering up with the real estate tokenization firm Realty to bring home mortgages into DeFi. This is crazy. This is happening now. It's nuts. Real world assets like mortgages, man, it's crazy coming into DeFi. Now, MakerDAO already innovated with invoices and music royalties early this year, which was absolutely massive as well. Now Aave is bringing mortgages to DeFi. I mean, this is a market worth tens of trillions of dollars. I believe that eventually all real world value can be brought on chain, and a lot of it's going to be. And in case you think, wow, this DeFi thing's really getting crazy, this bubble must be ready to pop any second now. No, we are not even close. We're just getting started. Take a look here at Google searches for ICO versus DeFi. You can clearly see where the ICO bubble happened. DeFi, it's not even making a blip on the radar yet. I reckon we still have at least a year before the market top blows off, likely a bit longer. Next up, Bitcoin is going parabolic on Ethereum. So the amount of Bitcoin being wrapped and tokenized on Ethereum and then plowed back into decentralized finance is soaring at an incredible rate right now. So much so, in fact, that it is now surpassing the total amount of Bitcoin mined. That's crazy. This is just another massive price catalyst for Bitcoin, along with the companies who are buying more Bitcoin than is being mined in any given week and all that kind of stuff. It's just totally nuts because Bitcoin that's being wrapped and then locked into DeFi, that is unlikely to come out anytime particularly soon, so long as it is earning a powerful yield, which a lot of these protocols are going to be earning strong yields. It's not going anywhere, meaning that exchanges, the Bitcoin on exchanges, it's going to be even more scarce. The price is going to continue to go up. And finally, the last bit of just totally insane DeFi news. Thailand's central bank is looking to use smart contracts and decentralized finance in its implementation for its national digital currency, the digital baht. Now, a representative from the bank said that global jurisdictions can borrow from the DeFi model to allow qualified parties to issue digital assets backed by real world assets, guys, real world assets like real estate and stocks, and then use them as collateral to secure loans in DeFi. That's crazy. Let me just summarize that real quick. A frickin' central bank is getting into DeFi, man. That's just, but for real, that's crazy. How long until a central bank is doing some crazy degen crap like, farming yams with 10% of the national GDP for some yield or something like that? We might be a few years away from that, but this is just crazy. It's such a big advantage right now for any early adopters. Thailand, they obviously realize this potential and they are acting accordingly, being an early adopter of decentralized finance technology. Crazy. And in other news, that's not related to DeFi, but to bank FOMO actually, 2 more major South Korean banks have announced crypto custody services this week. This now makes 4 of the top 5 South Korean banks which are set to introduce crypto custody services. Now, should we take bets on how many days until the 5th bank FOMO's in? Can't watch all your competitors do it and not hop on board. Now, together, the top 5 banks hold over $1.2 trillion in assets under management. Obviously, some of that value will start flowing into crypto as these big investors, they start dumping things like their treasury bonds, which aren't really doing it much, or the other underperforming assets when they see the gains being made with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Now, this raft of announcements by South Korean banks comes actually as the government is set to pass new laws which will formalize the industry in the country, finally providing some really good regulatory clarity for crypto companies. But the message is clear, for me anyway. Banks, they either need to adapt or die. We've covered so many stories this year about banks moving into crypto. The Thai Central Bank announcing their DeFi play today, and of course, more South Korean banks FOMOing in. At this point, it's just another day in crypto, but it's crazy. It's either get on board or get blockbustered. And the big story for today, legendary investor Warren Buffett is dumping his bank stocks like they're going out of style. Because they are going out of style. What's he buying instead? Gold stocks. Now, this is a crazy, crazy story, and I think one which is massively important for Bitcoin, since in so many ways, gold and Bitcoin, their fates are intertwined. So Buffett dumping banks, this is just a massive story. So Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway completely dumped Goldman Sachs. So see you later, Goldman Sachs. That's wild. They also sold 62% of their stake in JP Morgan and cut 26% of their Wells Fargo stake. That is a massive, massive move and a very pessimistic stance towards U.S. banks. Now, to replace those assets in the Berkshire Hathaway portfolio, they bought Barrick, which is a gold miner that pays dividends. But even if Warren Buffett didn't directly buy gold, this is still massive for Warren Buffett since he has been a big gold skeptic for a long time, frequently in the past having mocked gold. But Buffett, even though he was wrong about gold, I don't think he's actually going to live long enough to be wrong about Bitcoin, or at least not publicly, but given enough time, I think that he would eventually be forced to also admit that he was wrong on Bitcoin, also just like he's just had to admit that he was wrong on gold. But this move by Buffett, it really, really represents just a massive tidal change in one of the most successful investors in history. The importance of what he's doing right now, it cannot be overstated, for the potential implications are just massive, especially for gold, especially for Bitcoin. This is basically Buffett admitting that central banks have completely lost the frickin' plot and that they are destroying fiat currencies. Globally, there is 100 trillion managed by different funds. That industry is currently less than 1% invested in gold. Buffett just opened up the floodgates, and even if they moved an allocation of only 2 or 3% into gold, that would be an incredible amount of money. Safe haven assets, they're definitely in vogue right now. We see so many big investors getting in. And if these funds are going to move some of their money into gold, then some of the more adventurous funds, you can bet your bottom dollar, will be moving into Bitcoin. Now, the Buffett story is obviously important because it just really underlines that shift in big investors towards safe haven assets. Gold, obviously, very in fashion right now. But those major investors, they're also starting to advocate for Bitcoin. We all know about Paul Tudor Jones and his very well-documented Bitcoin play earlier this year. But now we have George Ball, the former CEO of Prudential, again, one of the world's biggest asset managers, and he is now shilling Bitcoin on cable TV. This is amazing, so let's hear what he had to say.
And the notion isn't to hide or to seek a tax refuge, but to have something that can't be undermined by the government and that won't become worthless if the currency becomes worthless, or at least if enough Robin Hooders happen to believe that. If the Robin Hooders don't want to trade stocks as they have, where are they going to put their money? There are no yields today. And so Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency becomes a very attractive, either long-term, I want to make a safe haven for my money, or a short-term speculative bet. And I think it's a good, I think it's where many people will turn after Labor Day, Fred.
Is this the real life, or is this just fantasy? No, really, think, how crazy is this? This is just nuts. Warren Buffett, after decades of trashing gold, has bought gold mining stocks. Former Bitcoin hater George Ball is now shilling Bitcoin. JP Morgan's now investing in Ethereum and banking for Coinbase. Paul Tudor Jones buying and shilling Bitcoin. Ray Dalio is regularly talking about Bitcoin, and my bet is that Ray will have to buy it for his fund sooner than later, especially considering that he just bought $400 million in gold. It's only a matter of time before he talks about and buys Bitcoin. ARK Invest has publicly made insane returns on their Bitcoin investment. Dozens of other funds are into Bitcoin. Companies are buying record amounts of Bitcoin. Grayscale is setting new records all of the time with how many institutional players are piling in and buying Bitcoin via their platform. How much more social proofing do we need? The answer is none, but we're going to get it anyway, which is pretty awesome. There is a flood of institutional money that's starting to trickle into the market. We're seeing it right now, but that's going to become a flood very soon. It's just the question of, will you be an early adopter or will you be a late adopter? The smartest investors know that the biggest rewards will be had by those investing now. Anyway, your question for today. Do you see Warren Buffett dumping banks and putting a bunch of money into gold stocks as a sign of things to come for the big investor crowd? And if so, do you think that they're all just going to pile into gold, or are they actually going to start buying Bitcoin as well? Because I think they're going to start buying Bitcoin in addition to gold. They're going to buy both, but the savvy ones are going to go hard into Bitcoin, just like MicroStrategy did. Anyway, let me know your opinion down below in the comment section. As always, super keen to hear what you have to say. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. Hope you're having a freaking awesome day out there. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.